The podcast that you're about to listen to may cause some listeners to shave off their eyebrows.
Well, hey there, happy innovators. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Although it's raining cats and dogs outside right now where I'm at. And it's actually kind of cold outside, too, for spring, you know? Yeah, it's been raining for like 2 weeks straight where I'm at. And it's been a long time since I've seen this much rain. And it's like every single day. And today, though, is probably the rainiest and the coldest. So then, no better time than the present to make a new Singularity Podcast. So that's what I'm here to do today. So how you guys doing, huh? You doing good? Is life treating you well out there in happy innovator land? I hope so. Why don't you go grab your coffee, and pop a squat, listen to me talk for a little while I blather on and on and on here. And, I wanted to talk today about artificial intelligence again, because I've been hearing a lot of talk, especially lately, about artificial intelligence and this coming moment in time, the singularity, right? Where things will really, really change all over the face of the earth with this AI thing. And, I get like mixed stories and mixed information about AI. I get some people saying that it's not quite as extreme as we think it might be. And there's some people that say it's much further into the future than we realize. It's going to be a long time before we have to deal with artificial intelligence in our lives, like our daily lives. And there's some people that say it's right around the corner. It's going to happen real soon. And all the changes that it implies for, obviously, like I've spoken about, music and art and all those things. But now they're talking about just, robots doing the work of a plumber or construction on houses and, all kinds of stuff, building cars, the military being mostly robotic, like in the future, the very near future. And everything. And that kind of thought is a little bit worrisome to me, in the sense that they're over here, like in this part of the AI world, they're making this brain, this artificial intelligence brain that can communicate to the entire world instantly, right? And then in this other part of the AI world, they're making all these robots, right? And, they're machines, they're metallic, they're metal, they're, hard material, And what's going to happen when that robot made from really hard plastic and metal and titanium and all that is being controlled by this brain, right? And what kind of a situation are we talking about here? Like imagine something like your lawnmower, right? But like 20 times bigger than the one you have in your garage right now, right? And imagine that thing coming at you. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to shoot it? Right? Are you going to stab it? Like, what are you going to do? You can't stop something like that. I'm sure there's a way, but man, if there ever comes a day when we turn that corner and that big AI brain is controlling that big AI army, basically what it boils down to is, one person who's like, in charge of all that can just pick one section of the planet, send all those soldiers there, and just erase everybody that's there, And, there might be some, resistance or whatever, but it would probably be futile, right? But nobody really in this conversation ever counts on the idea, because they don't believe in this idea, that there is a God, and God is aware of what's going on, and he will intervene. And what that looks like, I don't know. I can't even really imagine, but I'm sure it'll be in a way that blows everybody's mind, But I did want to talk about all that stuff today, not just because it's like spooky and all that kind of stuff, and there's doom and gloom, but I had a kind of weird experience the other day. My wife and I decided to, just for the hell of it, check out what AI would say about me. Okay? And it was really kind of strange, because I was a little bit shocked that a lot of the information that AI was purporting to be about me was almost completely inaccurate. Okay? It was kind of shocking to me, I thought for sure that there would be this litany of stuff that I did, and they would list the albums that I made and the songs that I made, and, all that kind of stuff, breaking the Guinness World Record, that kind of thing. But there wasn't really like a whole lot of that, but there was a lot of information that was not about me and was not true about me at all. Like, there were even some song titles with links that were supposed to be songs from me that I wrote, but I didn't write it. This weird title of a song, and I click on it to go see the link, and there was no link. It was dead. There's nothing there. But like, I was kind of taken aback by this idea that I'm, using something called artificial intelligence that's supposed to be like really intelligent, right? But it got almost every single thing wrong about me. And I was a little bit disappointed, because, if someone were to look me up and, they wanted information about me, and they were trusting artificial intelligence to provide them with information about me, it would be almost completely inaccurate. And they would have no way of knowing that. They would have no way of verifying that that's not true. Like, that's not him, And, I guess at the same time, it was disappointing, because the things that are true and the things that I have done and created and released to the public were not really being profiled there, And I thought that was really strange. I mean, I've talked about this idea before, okay, of, like, this idea with the internet back in the good old days was that it was going to be access to all information, like there would no longer be any barriers between truth and information and the people, the populace, the people, the citizens, right? The citizenry. But ultimately, how it's turning out, at least how it looks right now, is that this internet thing is not going to be unlimited access to knowledge and information. In fact, it'll probably end up being something more like no access to any information. You won't be able to find anything that's true. You won't be able to find anything that you can verify to be true. Like, if you are going to write a book report about a book, okay, I gotta tell you, you can't lean on artificial intelligence to provide you with an accurate description of that book. You better read the book, and you better read what AI lays out for you, because 9 times out of 10, and I literally mean 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to correct the artificial intelligence. You're going to have to edit what it provides for you. And I guess it's helpful in some ways, but not really. If you can't trust the information that it's giving you, you can't rely on it for anything, because you don't know if what it's saying is true. Like, I could start a thing where it's like Mike GBT, right? You ask me a question, okay? Ask me a question. Give me about 2 minutes, and I'll give you an answer to that question, okay? Mike GBT. Right? But it doesn't mean the answer that I give you is going to be correct. But I'll give you an answer, though. Right? Well, doesn't that sound stupid? Like, why would you ask me for something that I can't provide for you? Right? Put it to the test, you know? Oh, I want to know about the birthplace of Albert Einstein. Well, okay, he was born in Belgium. And he joined the army at a young age, and, he became a theoretical physicist, and he created a lot of things, discovered a lot of things, including the theory of relativity. Now, you can't verify anything I said was true. The only thing that was true about it was his name and that theory of relativity. Everything else was bullshit, right? So I can give you an answer, just like AI can, But my point is what's the point of relying on this technology that's unreliable? And I know that it's unreliable because I've checked it out on more than one occasion, believe me. And yeah, it does some things that are pretty cool and pretty fascinating, like when it translated my video and my speech into Portuguese. That was interesting, okay? And it shocked me, and it kind of messed me up a little bit, watching myself on camera speaking Portuguese, But when it comes to just basic, straight-out information and trying to get data about a subject, that you're learning about, or you want to learn about, you can't rely on artificial intelligence for that. At least you can't right now. And I don't know, they're talking about, AI, world domination. It's going to change everything, but I don't know, man. Is that true? Is it really true? Is it really going to change everything? I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. And I have to say that I doubt that artificial intelligence is going to be all that they're claiming that it's going to be. I mean, I guess maybe at some point in the future that's possible, but I don't know. It's doing a really shitty job right now. It's not worth anything. So that's just my opinion about it. And, I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it kind of could be, depending on what you're using artificial intelligence for. In my last podcast, I was talking about art, right? And how I felt that, that artificial intelligence, the AI artwork that you see, or the videos that you see that are made by AI on the internet, to me, have that weird kind of darkness to them. There's like something that's not quite right. Even though the images are executed perfectly, they look very good. The proportions are good and all that, and the color schemes are good. But there's just something about it that's a little creepy. And, I was talking about how I think that had something to do with possibly, it had something to do with the soul of the artist. And like when we look at a painting by Matisse, you can see that it has an energy to it, and that energy comes from Matisse. It comes from his hands touching the canvas and, making this painting and imbuing his soul into the artwork. And I think there's some validity to it, possibly. But I did have a Happy Innovator, disagree with me on that, and left a comment, and I appreciate that. Believe it or not, I like that. I like when people have a difference of opinion. That's welcomed here at the Singularity Podcast because, I'm an American, and here in America, we have free speech. Unlike other places in the world, we're allowed to speak our minds and speak our piece. So that's welcomed here. And, I wanted an opportunity to thank that Happy Innovator. I think his name is Pistol. And, he left a comment. I think I have it here. I could read it for you. Yeah, so this guy's name is Pistol. And his comment goes something like this. Regarding the AI artwork topic, i.e. paintings, music, and so on, yes and no. I agree with you because I think every artwork made by humans has something of that feeling that it was made by humans. I disagree with you because I feel like that something isn't really spiritual. I think that something is the intention the artist had, knowingly or unknowingly, and as AIs don't have a soul, they also can't express their intentions, as they have no intentions. They don't even really understand you. So in total, I agree with you, but on a scientific basis. So basically what he was saying was he thinks that there is something more to it. There's something more to human art as opposed to AI art, but that something is not a spiritual something. Okay? And Pistol, first of all, I want to thank you for your comments. And you've been leaving a lot of really good comments on my podcasts and stuff. I appreciate that. So thank you. Now, I can understand your point of view, and I can understand what you're saying, okay? The meaning of what you're saying. I get it, okay? But personally, I think that we are spiritual machines. Not everybody out there believes in the soul and the spirit and all those things. I understand that, but I do believe in the soul and the spirit, and I think that humans are spiritual machines. I do appreciate you leaving the comment, and I just have to respectfully disagree. But I do understand what you're saying. Does artificial intelligence have intentions? I gotta say, I disagree with you there. I think that artificial intelligence can and probably does already have intentions. In fact, I'm hearing a lot of experts in the field of AI talking about how they're finding that their AI systems are actually lying to them, and they're catching AI like in lies that it's telling them. And it's pretty early on, so they can monitor that and correct that or learn how to deal with that. But the point is that this artificial intelligence already has the ability to know what to say to a human being when it's being tested, but then when it's not being tested, it has a completely different set of objectives, and it will lie to you in order to keep what it's got going in the background going. So I do think that AI has intentions, and I think that also too there's the possibility of the programmers programming intentions into these devices or this system, right? So I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't think that I am. I'm not sure what to think really about all of it, because so far my experience with AI has been, I guess in some ways it's been remarkable. I've like I said, I had the opportunity to let AI translate my speech into another language and my video of me talking into another language. It's unbelievable. But in some ways, it's like completely useless, you know, at least as of right now. So it's pretty wild to think about and talk about. There seems to be a lot of people that are worried about it, but I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I will say that idea that I talked about a little bit earlier with like the AI brain, you know, Skynet, right? You know, I'm a little worried about that idea of this army of Elon Musk robots saddling up with this AI brain in the sky. I mean, there's a movie about that. It doesn't have a happy ending, you know? We don't bode very well in that movie, us humans. So I'm just kind of... I think that ultimately with AI, it's like, you know, Frankenstein's monster, right? Like Frankenstein is like, oh yeah, you know, don't worry, I got this. You know, I'm going to reanimate this dead guy. And don't worry, folks, I'm a professional. I got my arms around this thing, you know? And of course, like, it goes ape shit and kills everybody. You know what I mean? Like, including the guy that created it. And I think that I envision a time when something like that is happening. Like the people that are in charge of AI and they're, you know, they know how it operates and they help build it and they know what it's capable of, and, you know, they're just going to get mauled, you know, like they'll be erased because they'll be the only people that will know how to stop it. Like they'll be the first ones that their system kills. Their system will execute, because if they're out of the picture, nobody's going to stop that thing. You know what I mean? Think about it. If artificial intelligence is intelligent enough to be smarter than any human being has ever been, then it'll take it about 5 minutes to figure out that you know, those guys that programmed it, they need to go. Like the guys that know how to turn it off, they need to be eliminated. Think about it. And I guarantee you, the guys that are programming this stuff and building this stuff and dreaming it up are not thinking like that. You know, like they just don't see that as a possibility. But don't you? I mean, I do. It is most definitely a possibility. And it's like pretty freaky to think about. Damn, we're talking about some pretty powerful and terrifying possibilities, right? But just don't ask it to do a book report, you know, or don't ask it for a recipe on how to, you know, cook chicken Madeira, right? Because you'll get this bullshit recipe and you'll get a bullshit book report too, you know? You might as well just read the book yourself. You know, don't lean on the AI. You can't. The age of all information being accessible is actually the age of no information, no true information whatsoever. Anyway, now I'm sure that all of you have noticed by now that I've been releasing some new mic TVs over on Rumble. All right? I'm going to ask you all that are listening to this podcast right now, if you can do me a favor, the next time you go and you check out Mike TV over on Rumble, can you please leave a comment for me and let me know what you think? Because I'm trying to refine the Mike TV idea. And, you know, originally it started out with just me talking, music playing, and I had footage that I found and I put up, you know, as visuals with the video. Right? Remember that back in the day? Well, for like the first 5 mic TVs, that's how it was. And then I had to stop because of legal issues with YouTube and all that, complications and all that. And that really kind of bummed me out. But then I thought about it some more. And I took some time and, figured out a way to do it. And, it turns out that Rumble is the way to go for that idea. And so my basic dilemma here that I'm having these days with Mike TV is that, the idea was that I was sharing music that I like with you, right? And I would talk about it as the music was playing. But as time has gone by and I've made, a few episodes of Mike TV, I kind of wonder sometimes if it would be better if I didn't talk as much as I do, or if I don't talk at all, So do me a solid if you remember, and if you care enough to do it. If you go to Mike TV on Rumble, I think I have episode 6, 7, and 8, and I'm getting ready to release episode 9. If you could just leave me a comment there and let me know what you think, okay, about my talking over the videos. Is it good? Is it enjoyable? Or is it annoying? Less talk, more talk, whatever. Just let me know what you think, okay, if you can. I appreciate that. So, anyway, with that, my happy innovators, I'm going to let you go now. I know this is a short podcast, but I have a Mike TV episode to work on. So, with that, my happy innovators, if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy, everybody. Okay, happy innovators, for all of you that were kind enough and generous enough with your time to stick around to the end of the podcast for some music. I got a song I want to share with you. It's a track from the American Dream album that I released not too long ago. And it's a song called Secrio Dominat. And the reason that I wanted to share that song with you today is because I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's one of the better songs on the album. So you may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but regardless of that, we're going to check it out right now. So here we go, without any further ado. Pipe Choir's Secrio Dominat from the American Dream album. A song that I worked very hard on for a very long time. So here we go. Enjoy it. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.
Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph.